KJ from OC Podcast. I'm your host, KJ from OC. We are doing a TLC predictions show right now, and I got my boy V-Tran on the other line, and we are going to do this together via satellite. No, via telephone. V, say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you, or good to talk to you, I guess. You're not actually seeing me, and, well, we're not actually talking. You're hearing our opinions. So.
And how long have you been a wrestling fan? Because actually, there's stuff I don't even know about you.
Yeah, well, actually, so I started watching, I'd say around 1993.
Okay.
Because my dad was into it. And I would watch it on Saturday afternoons. I think it was on Fox. It was WWF Superstars.
Yeah.
Pretty much, like, around the time that I'd say Bob Backlund and Bret Hart were having their feud was around the time that I kind of got into it.
Oh, okay.
And also around the time that I think Jerry Lawler, I think there was Survivor Series where Jerry Lawler was supposed to have his, like, 5 nights and it was versus the Hart family.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I didn't realize it because I was only, like, 6 years old, but they pulled Jerry Lawler out of the Survivor Series because he had some, like, sex scandal thing and they fired him.
Yeah.
So they changed Survivor Series, but I never watched the pay-per-views because, well, I never had any money, and, you know, my parents were going to pay for that shit. So
right.
That was around the time that I started watching it, and I watched it up until about, I'd say, like, right around the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression era.
Okay.
And then I'd stopped for about 11 years, and I just picked it up again, like, 2 years ago.
Oh, so you're kind of in a similar boat, because I kind of stopped watching around 92, 93 and kind of would pick it up intermittently until, like I knew who The Rock and Cena and Stone Cold were, because I would kind of just watch things here and there. But I was way more into football and basketball and stuff like that. And then my buddy Chris Keener invited me over to watch WrestleMania 30. Like, what was that, almost 3 years ago? And I was like, I haven't watched WrestleMania in 10 years, you know? So I went over and watched Daniel Bryan go through Triple H and Batista and Randy Orton. And it slowly began to kind of creep back into my life here and there. And then when Zayn came into the Royal Rumble, I think before the Royal Rumble, from NXT, he came over and he interfered in the Kevin Owens match or something like that, and then they started their feud. It's kind of when I really got back into it, and I have not missed a pay-per-view in probably over a year. So,
oh yeah, like that's. I mean, he came in at an interesting time because that was roughly around the time that I started back up too, and it was weird because it's really funny because it's almost like the riding the bike concept in that it's like you just seem like once you get back into it though, it kind of just starts back up again. And then I started watching it just because I just felt like watching it one day. And then I found myself actually, like, looking up Bleacher Report and starting to read, like, articles again like it was when I was more into it. You know, it wasn't prevalent when I was growing up because I was obsessed with the product during the Attitude Era, which is, you know, when I was, like, 10 through 16. The internet wasn't prevalent back then. But, you know, I kept up with everything. And it was easy for me to, once I just started watching it, like, more than 1 or 2 episodes at a time, to fall back into, like, the familiar practices of what I did when I was, like, really into the product.
Okay.
And I've been enjoying it since. You know, I'm kind of going on and off a little bit just because there's so much wrestling now, it's kind of hard to keep up with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I watch when I can. You know?
Do you have the network?
I do. Well, actually, I don't. I don't have the network, but I have a friend of mine who doesn't use it very often.
It's funny because I'm in the same boat you are, where I'll pay my buddy, you know, half the fees that he pays per year because he got it for himself and then gave me the password. And so I'm just like, well, I'll just, you know, he didn't say I had to pay him. I'm just like, I probably should pay him because, you know, I'm using it.
Yeah. And it's also like, I like a lot of the products on the network. You know, it's kind of, you know, the whole kayfabe thing being dead now, but, like, it's kind of cool to be able to see their interactions outside of just in-ring stuff, which is kind of interesting. And then to be able to kind of see the stuff from the past that I grew up with, to get a little nostalgic.
Yeah.
So it's just a really nice thing to do. And then I have a friend of mine who actually, you know, I actually podcast with him as well, who is actually took the password from, who's really into the product. He's been watching it religiously since the 90s. Mm-hmm. He hasn't stopped. So you might have him on one day, too.
Heck yeah, I'm down with that. Matter of fact, go ahead and plug your podcast real quick for the people.
Absolutely. You can find me on iTunes. It's called Currently Nerdy. We're kind of like current events with that nerdy twist. We also do things that are actually nerdy, like comic books, movies, etc. We also talk about kind of cultural phenomena, all those things. You can find us on iTunes at Currently Nerdy. You can also find us on currentlynerdy.com. And we're also Currently Nerdy on any type of social media, Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., etc.
Right on. And I have heard their show. I found it very funny and interesting, and I'm not lying. I swear I've listened to their show. There's your plug. All right, so let's get into these predictions right now. I like to kind of sometimes do a little offshoot story, too, if you want to. We kind of can, like, where are they going to go from here with this, and, kind of give a little backstory as well.
Absolutely.
So we can do that. I'll start with the first match, which I think will be the first match. Wait, there's a Baron Corbin match. Where's that one? Oh, there it is. Kalisto and Baron Corbin. It's a chairs match. Okay. Did you see when Baron Corbin interfered in Kalisto's Survivor Series match?
Absolutely.
What did you think about that at that moment? Were you like, oh, cool, or were you like me, like, this is stupid?
It's unfortunate because when Baron Corbin first came to NXT, there was a certain mystique about him that I thought was, and people really loved him, right? They would count down to like how quickly he would end the days people and all that other stuff, and eventually. As things got along, people began to kind of get fatigued with the gimmick, and his issues, his cracks, kind of came through.
Okay.
I think they brought him up to the main roster a little bit too soon. It seems a little bit like he's just like not comfortable in his own little shell right now. And that's the problem. It's like you hear people actually call him Baron Snorbit, right? Because it's like
he's not exciting.
He just doesn't have. There's just nothing there. Like he's not. He's a big guy, but he's kind of an intimidating big guy. And it's just like that alt rock thing that he's doing isn't like just isn't really resonating that well. So I didn't care for it. I don't really care for his matches personally.
Okay.
Kalisto, it just sucks because he has a lot of potential, but it's like he's prone to botching
everything.
Which is it's kind of funny to see it, but it's also you feel really bad for him because you almost feel embarrassed for him.
Yeah.
Thousands of people are watching. It's like, and then he like accidentally slips through the ropes or something, right?
Yeah, I've seen it a bunch of times. And you as the opponent have to capitalize on that, even though that's not the spot. But you're like, I know I have to capitalize on this, but this is not how the storyline is supposed to be going right now in the match, right?
Yeah, it's a little hard, but it's also that kind of shows, I think, with the wrestlers who's like a constant professional and who's still working on it.
Yeah.
If you listen to Jericho's podcast, he does this thing with Disco Inferno where they're talking about where they're doing a match and like Inferno accidentally trips Jericho. Jericho like falls on the outside of the ring, and they went with it, and it turned out to be like one of the highlights of the match, and then they actually started reusing that spot over and over again on their house show matches.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of shows that like you can kind of turn the what is it? Stone Cold says that you can turn chicken shit into chicken salad.
Yeah.
But like it's hard when you're a luchador because it's like how can you make? It's like he intentionally jumps on top of the ropes to do that corkscrew thing. Mm-hmm. How can you turn that if he's just going to jump through the ropes and slip on him on accident, right? Especially with someone like Corbin who isn't. He's not a seasoned veteran in the business, so
right.
It seems like it'd be hard for him to turn that into. And they've also done the Baron Corbin Kalisto storyline for a while now, and I wasn't interested in it when it first started, so I don't know why I'd be interested in it now,
It started, I think, just from a match, which a lot of these storylines just start because of a match, as opposed to some kind of drama. Like, one of my favorite feuds of all time is Hogan versus Andre, because they were best friends for so long, and it started from jealousy. This is obviously way before your time. Started from jealousy when Andre was getting a trophy and Hogan was getting a trophy in the same show, and Hogan's trophy was for being champ for 3 years. It was a huge trophy, like the size of Baron Corbin's Battle Royal trophy, and Andre got a trophy for being undefeated for 15 years, except his trophy was like a most improved player kind of trophy, like hella small. And so Andre kind of just left, was like, all right, then, and then he came back the next week with Bobby Heenan, and then, tore Hogan's shirt and told him he was going to challenge him for the championship, WrestleMania 3, and it just went on from there, and it went on for over a year, well over a year, and it was just like, it's jealousy. That's it. But it worked.
It's not a hard formula to do. I mean, you saw that with Macho Man and Hulk Hogan with Miss Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah.
Also, and Macho Man's my favorite of all time, right? So,
okay.
He's he's the guy. He's the guy for me that, like, when I think, like, what is the quintessential professional wrestling, like, character, Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Okay, Sting's my favorite.
The what?
Sting's my favorite. He's been my favorite since,
sorry, lost you there for a second.
Oh, yeah. Sting's been my favorite since '88.
So you were into the Surfer Sting with the colorful makeup and the black.
Yeah.
Were you into? I don't know if you were watching, but like, were you into the Crow Sting? He was like that dark, brooding, like anti-NWO.
I saw it
in the rafters,
but I wasn't really that into it. Like when I played 2K16 and stuff, I don't really use that Sting.
Okay.
Yeah, that
was the Sting that I grew up with because I came in around, like, NWO had just beaten up Surfer Sting.
Yeah.
So he was gone for a while, and he came back with the Crow gimmick, and that was my real introduction to Sting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, back to this match. Kalisto versus Corbin started from just a match, and I think then Corbin beat him up backstage at some point, and they kind of just go back and forth. It's a chairs match, which means there's going to be a lot of chairs used, and I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of spot where Kalisto's going to throw a chair at Corbin. Corbin will catch it, and Kalisto will drop kick him with it.
Yeah, your standard, was it the Van Dominator?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Van Dam did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I think that's obviously, I think the idea behind the chairs is that it's like, well, now Kalisto has a chance because he's so small and Corbin's so big.
Yeah.
I just don't see them putting Kalisto over in this match. I just can't imagine it unless it was like a schmoz, and then they're trying to elongate this feud again for Corbin to, like, take back, like, a clean win.
Yeah.
I can't, honestly, I can't care anywhere past that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
He's so big that if you have him lose to a guy who's 5'4" and botches all the time, it really pulls away from the monster you're making him out to be. I liked seeing him against Dolph Ziggler because Ziggler reminds me, obviously, of Shawn Michaels, but also a little bit of Brian Pillman, who you probably don't remember a whole lot. But I remember Pillman when he was wearing his Cincinnati Bengal type draws in WCW, NWA back in 80, 88, 89, 90. And Corbin kind of reminds me also of like Nikita Koloff. Not really exciting, but just kind of stiff. And so, to me, it was like to see them two wrestle was like, all right, cool. It's like watching old WCW, NWA. So, to have the little guy go over the monster in a long feud, or an elongated feud for that matter, I think that would be a bad idea. So, you got to have the monster go out. And I think it's probably going to end with Corbin giving chair shots to Kalisto on the back like 7 times.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I mean, that's the one, that's like the kind of the fine line. It's like you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to, like, I mean, yeah, those people are in the job and everything, but, like, you don't want to make them look, like, so bad that people end up kind of losing any type of, or they end up losing, like, a lot of credibility in the eyes of people that are watching. So,
yeah.
I think, the intense chair shot's going to be important for Kalisto because it's like there's a lot of issues with him that they need to work through.
They really do.
This is one of the ways, is like, I think they're trying to make Kalisto, even though he's going to lose, they're trying to make him look tougher than he's been portrayed as of late through this match.
Yeah, because I think did he wrestle somebody last year at the last TLC?
I'm trying to think.
Let me look real quick.
I don't remember. The TLC pay-per-view is not one that I'm like super into. It was great when it was the Edge, Christian, and the Dudley Boys.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Like, to make a whole pay-per-view out of it's a little bit excessive, in my opinion.
Yeah, because unless you're going to make it for every single person, like they did with Hell in a Cell. They had 3 Hell in a Cells, which a little bit was overkill. Like, I liked the Roman versus Rusev one, Seth and Owens. They had some good spots. Sasha and Charlotte, the first 5 or 6 minutes of it was cool, and then it was like, oh, all right. It's a regular match kind of thing, So it could be the same thing with this, too, just overkill with the whole TLC thing. So
it was like 2 years ago or something. It was like it was really bad. Like they did Big Show versus Eric Rowan in a stairs match, which was just absolutely stupid. I was like, okay, now that's like tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs, and it was like the dumbest thing in the world, and I questioned why I was still watching at that point.
Yeah. Big Show needs to retire.
Yeah, well, he's actually, as I understand it, he's not on TV very much. He's not on TV at all, but he's working with Braun Strowman on the house shows to kind of work on his big guy or his big man wrestling, which is, a great idea because Braun is doing really well right now, and he can only improve from working with an experienced guy like that.
Oh, absolutely. He was the giant in WCW and was not as fat as he was as he is now.
I know. It's weird seeing him from like those old WCW days because he was like so leaned out.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like it's just old age and just genetics. It sucks, but it's just the way things are. And to see him now, you're kind of man. Like it's crazy how much bigger he's got.
It's kind of sad too. It's like, oh jeez.
Yeah. I would understand him. He's like under, or he just said he lost 40 pounds or something. He's doing DDP yoga.
Oh, is he? They're really plugging that every podcast I listen to, whether it's Stone Cold or Jericho or whomever, it's always DDP yoga. Solomonster Sounds Off, I think, has plugged DDP yoga. He started it last week. I don't know if you know who Solomonster is, but
I love Jason Solomon.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Every single week, so. Yeah, no, I think he's the best wrestling podcast out there.
I totally agree. That's why I started doing it, because of him. He was so good. I'm like, I gotta do this too. So we're both picking Corbin to go over Kalisto in this chairs match?
I think so, yeah.
All right, let's get to another really unimportant match as well. Nikki Bella versus Carmella, which started from Carmella kind of being jealous or sick of Nikki Bella talking about her injury and her experience in the ring. And she knocked her out in the ring before a match, and then, well, here we are with the feud 3 months later, which has no implications of anything at all. It's just two gals fighting, and this is a no DQ match. I don't know why, but it is. What do you think about this whole rivalry?
Honestly, I've never cared for either of the Bellas that much. Carmella was great. She was with Ken Menzo, obviously.
Yeah.
She's improving slowly, and, she's talented. I don't know if she's, I think for Carmella, it's one of those situations where it's okay, you need to get put back in the oven for a little while and bake a little bit longer. So
yeah.
Now that I said it, that's not a good analogy.
Well, not if she's Jewish.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, not a very good. Was it Baron Kratzky? Is that the Nazi wrestler?
Oh, I don't remember him. I remember Baron von Raschke.
Yeah, Baron von Raschke, right?
Yeah.
The goose stepping all over the ring.
Yeah, he sure did.
So there was, I think this is, I have a feeling that whoever wins this is probably going to end up getting the title shot of whoever wins Becky Lynch and
Alexa Bliss. Yeah.
But they're also, they set up a thing at Survivor Series where Nikki gets attacked and no one knows who it is.
Oh, that's right.
That might play a role into what this. I feel like Nikki's going to win this one, just because I don't think she hasn't given Carmella her comeuppance yet on any of the feuds, I think. So Nikki's going to win eventually. So I'd say Nikki Bella in this match.
I think that's a good call because Nikki is one of the most over women on either roster because she looks great. She's been on TV forever. She's Total Bellas. She's John Cena's chick. And, she's not bad in the ring. I'm not going to say she's, botch fest like Kalisto or Sin Cara. But she's definitely probably the most over. Hell, when she came back, was that SummerSlam that she came back and got a huge pop?
Yeah. I think it was SummerSlam.
Yeah, somebody else got injured. So it was Eva Marie. That's right. Because of her drug thing.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I love the Eva Marie stuff was funny, where it's she would avoid fighting. One time they figured out the formula to how to make Eva Marie at all relevant in that company.
Yeah.
And they worked with it. It was great.
Yeah, my buddy actually thought that she was getting injured every week. I'm like, dude, you're not that much of a fucking mark. You got to stop. Like, you're 38. You got to stop. Actually, I think it was the first week when she hurt her ankle. He's like, no, she's really injured. And the same thing with Sami Zayn. I'm like, dude, it's a work, and you're getting worked.
Like, it's 2016, man. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. Everything.
You shouldn't believe. Yeah, you don't need to believe anything when the internet's present.
Yeah. I actually thought Enzo's injury was a work when it happened. God, when was that? Was that like May, April, June?
Yeah, when they were fighting the Vaudevillains.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he hit his head through the rope.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, ooh, I guess his head kind of did bounce off, and he was out like a light.
That's why I just, obviously you can tell when it's really a thing when like they stop everything and the medical people come through, and it's like they're not going to stop the show for these things unless it's like meant to serve a storyline, right? But it's just there's a lot of things that are obvious tells that it's real versus it being fake. One of those little extras that you hear about is how the ref will throw up an X with his hand.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Actual issue, yeah, like little things like that. But even then, you understand like the way the announcers work is that the narrative changes when an actual injury happens as opposed to whether or not they're furthering a storyline. That's one of the biggest tells. Usually, a lot of the time, it's like they're a little more somber about things, and they're not pushing the storyline anymore when someone actually gets hurt.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is like the fine line between kayfabe and reality. And forgive my sick nostril voice. I've been getting sick for like the last few days, obviously because of all the crazy wind we've been having and this extreme cold. It kind of sucks because now I just can't breathe.
But about time, winter hasn't, it didn't show up in California until after Thanksgiving. It was taking its own holiday break.
Yeah, seriously. And now I'm looking outside. It's not freezing, and it looks like it's about 80 degrees at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's California, I swear.
It'll never rain, and it'll never snow. Not around Orange County.
It's weird. It's like people always make a joke about Orange County about it being in a bubble, and we literally live in a bubble, and even the weather is untouched by things that are outside, outside of this area, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's just really interesting.
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy yesterday about that. I'm like, I couldn't live anywhere else. It looks too nice out here.
Yeah. I mean, you pay for it for sure. You definitely have to pay for it. But
oh yeah.
We're also very spoiled in that sense.
Very. Speaking of spoiled, Alexa Bliss, the spoiled brat. Good segue into she's going to be fighting Becky Lynch for the Women's Smackdown Championship. So they're going to have a tables match for the WWE Women's Smackdown Championship. This whole rivalry, do you remember how it started? Because I really don't.
I'm trying to think. Not really, actually. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
And that's how these storylines often are in WWE right now. It's like, hey, you two fight each other. How come? It's Tuesday. All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, it's harder. It's really harder, especially with the women, because it's like, despite all the good things that are happening in the women's division, it's like they still kind of put to the side a little bit, right, compared to the men.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times, and let's face it, the writing hasn't quite been up to snuff to what it's been at one point or another, in my opinion, anyway.
I agree.
Especially on Raw.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll give you an example. This happened a year or two ago, I think. It was John Cena and Rusev. Like, Rusev got his first loss from John Cena, big surprise. But it was because John Cena happened to walk through the camera when Rusev was doing his post-fight interview, and then it started their rivalry. Right? It was just this kind of ridiculous,
petty
thing, and it's hard because they kind of end up using the same formula a lot of the times to kind of just go, all right, well, these are fighting because we just chose for them to fight this week. So I don't really know exactly how Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss started their feud here.
Yeah, it may have been from a match, and was it maybe Did Becky pin Alexa at the end of the SmackDown's Women Battle Royal? Remember when they had that Battle Royal to determine who the champion would be?
Yeah, she might have. I mean, that very well could have been it. I don't remember.
Okay, because, yeah, that sounds like what it could be, which is a better storyline, because now it's like, I got to get revenge, I got to be number one, etc. And then there was like a number one contender match between Alexa, somebody, and somebody. I think it was Naomi was one of them, and Alexa won, or something like that. And then Naomi beat Alexa when Becky couldn't be there for a pay-per-view like a month or two ago because she had some quote-unquote surgery that we don't know what it was about. Some people say it was an abortion, and I'm just like, I don't know about that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's effed up, man.
God, pull back for a second.
Yeah.
It's like, you look at go to the most, just the most extreme thing in the world, right? Be like, oh, yeah, well, I sprained my ankle, so I can't. He's like, oh, she had an abortion.
Yeah. Because she missed an entire pay-per-view. No one knows what it was, so it's like, let's go with the most extreme clickbait kind of stuff. I'm like, I don't know. And even if it was an abortion, it's not our business.
I think it's always funny to me because it's like, everyone's so starving for controversy that it's like, pretty good jump to that conclusion. It's just like, oh, well, John Cena hasn't been on TV. It's like, well, that obviously means that he's been killing people and throwing them into the swamp. It just doesn't make any sense. It's really like, you have all the things to think of. Like, you thought of that first?
You got a good point. Yeah, the internet wrestling community is a little bit weird sometimes, or a lot of times, sadly, but it definitely...
It is what it is, Yeah. I think it's one of those, you just gotta kind of take it for what it is.
Yeah. So I've kind of taken this rivalry for what it is as well, just like, not exciting. Do you think Becky Balboa is going to walk away with the championship, or is Alexa going to get it? Because if Alexa gets it, then that means Becky Lynch gets a rematch at some point within the next month or so, by the next pay-per-view, which will probably end up being Royal Rumble. And if Alexa loses, that means Becky's got to go on to fight somebody else, which might be Nikki Bella rolling into, WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think Alexa's going to win. She's good, but I don't think she's quite at that level yet to hold the title. I have a feeling that Becky's going to win, and then whoever does the Nikki Carmella match will end up being the bigger. It's like, it may not be the immediate championship, but it was like the overarching theme will be Becky's going to face whoever wins the Carmella Nikki match.
Okay.
Nothing crazy happens in between.
Nothing with Naomi, you think? I mean, because Naomi beat Alexa Bliss, so I'm kind of wondering if Naomi might pop her head in and be like, "Hey, by the way, yo, how you doing? Give me a shot."
I'm not against that idea, but I feel like it's going to be more kind of, because TLC isn't like, it's not one of the big pay-per-view matches, so they always kind of, in terms of title changes, they're a little bit more reticent to do those things. Mm-hmm. I think Naomi very well maybe sold her for shows in between for Becky's title match run, but I don't think that she's going to take it.
Okay.
I feel like Becky's going to hold it for a little while because she's kind of the darling of the SmackDown women's division. You can tell. It's like, I love Becky Lynch. I mean, I saw some of her stuff as Becca Knox on the Indies.
Okay.
She's great.
Yeah.
And people really into Becky Lynch right now. So I don't think they're going to take the belts off.
Yeah, she's got this fighting style. I mean, they call her Becky Balboa, or she calls herself Becky Balboa, whatever. And it fits because she is a tough cookie. Her fighting style is not just like a couple of slaps and some kicks. Like, she's going to punch you, and she's going to drop you on your ass, and she's going to try to break your arm and then disarm her.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Becky Lynch will walk away with the championship in this tables match. I see maybe, I don't know how they're going to put Alexa's little ass through a table, though. I mean, I'm sure I could. But I'll put her through anything. That girl got ass, man. No joke. When I used to tell my friend, she lives out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I would text her pictures of Alexa Bliss's ass. I'm like, God, look at this. How do you not want to run through? Oh, this is such a nasty podcast. But yeah, she's
brought in there,
I have forgotten I'm a Christian so many times when I podcast. It's just, oops, sorry, Jesus.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, you know what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we both picking Becky Lynch. I don't know how the match is going to end, but obviously Lex is going to go through a table somehow, so right on. We got The Miz and Maurice, or with Maurice, versus Dolph Ziggler in a ladder match. Is Dolph going to win the championship for the second time in 2 months?
I don't think so.
Why did they even give it to him in the first damn place?
I think what it was in this situation, it was more them serving kind of they were serving the now as opposed to looking at it as like the long-term goal. I love Dolph Ziggler. Like, he's been one of my favorites. Like, he's been one of my favorites since I started watching again.
Okay.
And I just think it's one of the things where Miz was a damn good champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't say that about the Miz very often, but he was doing a really good job, and the storyline between like Dolph losing his career and all that stuff, like that was a really strong storyline. And I think they were like, we need to create that feel good moment because it's really important to the story. Not thinking about what was going to happen, you know, 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 months down the line. So I feel like Miz is going to win this one, and they're going to at one point have him lose it at a bigger show to someone who probably hasn't had the belt yet.
Like maybe Baron Corbin?
I hope not. Jeez.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen at some point. I was thinking Apollo Crews, but they have really effed my boy over. I was kind of understanding who he was a little bit when he was in PNW. Was it Pacific Northwest Wrestling?
Yeah, when he was Uhaa Nation?
Yeah. That is his real name. His real name is Uhaa. But yeah, he's come over, and I was like, "Oh, cool." He's got some. I mean, he was in NXT for a little bit, and then he comes over to the main roster, and I'm like, "All right, cool." They're kind of really, making him beat up people every week and smiling all the damn time. He's got them big old chubby, different strokes, kind of cheeks. Remember Different Strokes? Yeah. What you talking about, Willis? He's got those kind of cheeks, like Arnold Jackson. But anyway, yeah, they really kind of bowled him over. So I'm thinking maybe Corbin will get it next. But I don't know, because I don't know who else they would really give it to on maybe Orton or Bray Wyatt after.
I don't, I'm not sure, because it's hard because once you've surpassed the IC title area when you're already fighting for the world title, especially with a guy like, I don't think they'd give it, or I don't think Orton would take it first place. But,
okay.
I don't see a lot of baby faces there, just like, because it's like Corbin versus Miz. I don't think anyone wants to see that. And they're both heels technically, so it's hard because like Miz is doing the standard, the standard heel with the manager style right now. Whether it be with Fabulous Sherry or Sensational Sherry, or Luna Vachon or one of these other ones, like the outside interference is like just tweaking just enough so that they win. That's why I think I don't think there'd be any interest in having Corbin and Miz go against one another. And I don't know, like the company's made horrible decisions before in matchmaking, so it's like I wouldn't put it past that to do that. But I don't see what you could possibly get out of a Miz Baron Corbin rivalry.
That's a good point. Which I was thinking maybe if Corbin were to get it, then someone else who, like a Bray Wyatt, who's not held a championship, I think, ever.
Yeah.
Which is very surprising to me. And I was thinking maybe he, at some point, will maybe, make Randy Orton go get it for him and then give it over, and you can't do that, like a DiBiase angle from '88. Andre the Giant had finally defeated Hulk Hogan at the main event on a Friday night, and Andre had DiBiase had quote unquote paid off some referee. It was such a great storyline, still stemming from the original Hogan Andre storyline. And DiBiase paid off some referee, which was one of the other referee's twin brother. So it looked just like him, and you're like, dude, Hogan's arm was up at 2. How the hell did the referee still count 3? The belt goes to Andre, and Hogan's like, what the hell? My arm was up. And then I don't know where the other referee came from, But Hogan like grabs them both, is looking at them both like, what the hell? Like the crowd was just so nuts with this. And so because of that angle, and they had to drop the title because you can't win a title obviously by paying somebody off and then give your belt to somebody else, which is what Andre did with DiBiase. They put the title up for the WrestleMania 4 tournament, which Macho Man eventually won. But I thought that was such a great storyline, so I'm thinking maybe they do something like that leading back to a WrestleMania 33 storyline or match where you have several people from SmackDown and Raw in a ladder match again. 6-7 people going for the Intercontinental Championship because Bray had Randy win it and Randy was supposed to give it to Bray, and then Randy gives it to Bray, and then, you know, Vince or Shane or Stephanie or somebody says, no, you can't do that. Title is vacant. You guys can try for it at the WrestleMania. And in the meantime, Bray beats the crap out of Randy. Randy and Bray break up, and Randy versus Bray at WrestleMania 33. Boom.
That's very possible. I mean, that's a kind of a cool idea.
Thank you. KJ for creative, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's pretty good. I think that, let's see, because the IC title, I mean, it's been better than what it's been the past couple of years. Trying to think if there's anyone that can potentially even sniff around the title right now. I'm happy you brought up Apollo Crews because I completely forgot that he existed.
Racist.
It had nothing to do with that. It was more like I feel bad because like the guy's this brand new cage. Really
yeah.
Good. They just don't have anything for him.
He's getting buried.
He just kind of wallows there, which is sad. You know, there was a while where it's like he had such like a big, you know, people were really into him when he first kind of got into NXT, and I was worried that they'd be like, well, he's this big, muscular black guy who can do flips.
Yeah,
we're gonna kind of fit him into that same kind of Vince McMahon mold and change his name to Black Lesnar or something. You know? And,
yeah, like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. But I just think it's just I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe he maybe he pissed someone off, and or maybe they just don't have anything for him. You know, it might be a good way for him to kind of foray back into the division again. Maybe they were like, we need to get the stink off of him, so we're just not going to have him on there. So like all of the losses that he was taking before everything was happening, we can kind of erase and have him do the comeback story. Which I'm not against because he's a really talented guy.
That's a good point.
I don't know, man, because like I don't know if obviously the Bray Randy split happening at one point or another. We don't know when, but I don't think it's going to last that long. There's no way that Randy Orton, who has had the story career that he has, is going to be stuck in a tag team for like a year, you know?
Yeah, that just sounds like a huge waste because American Alpha, the Usos, I'm not going to say the Vaudevillains and the Ascension because they're really just like jobber tag teams.
I know. I like Aiden English a lot, actually.
Oh, do you? Yeah, he's not bad. Yeah, Simon Gotch, not so much, but Aiden English, yeah, he looks like he's pretty good. But yeah, they have other tag teams that really should be doing stuff. And maybe that's what it is. You know, maybe, it's another possibility. Bray and Randy win this one, and then eventually lose to the Usos or something like that, or American Alpha, and then they break up from there. You know, Bray and Randy break up from there, leading to WrestleMania 33, and then American Alpha and the Usos wrestle at WrestleMania 33 for the championship.
Yeah.
Another little possibility.
It'd be great because both of them, I mean, Bray hasn't been particularly strong, right? But, like, when he's with Randy, he looks a lot stronger. I think what they're doing, and this is what I think they're doing well, is that they're taking, they formulated an actual, like, big deal team out of Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it's to put over American Alpha.
Okay.
The one thing for me is I think that, like, as much as I enjoy Heath Slater and Rhino, right, they're not considered an intimidating tag team. There's people like them, so they did the underdog story for the tournament, right?
Yeah, I like their story too.
It's a great story, right? But they're not an intimidating team. Like, they're not a team you go, oh man, they're gonna start, collecting bodies. So I think that ultimately, and we might as well just go into it now because we're talking about it. But in that tag team match, I have a feeling that this is kind of, it's like you don't need the titles on Heath Slater and Rhino to have them be likable, right? So
agreed.
I don't think they need the titles anymore. And then when you face someone who is, as accomplished as Randy Orton, and then with Bray Wyatt being kind of a semi-strong character, I think they're going to win in pretty fast fashion, and they're going to build to the point where American Alpha will take it from them, probably in like a bigger pay-per-view.
Okay, so maybe American Alpha will take it at Royal Rumble, or you think, because February is going to be whatever those pay-per-views are, and then March is going to be either WrestleMania or two other small pay-per-views, and then the first Sunday in April, depending on when Easter is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I kind of figured they probably do the big show. It's like the new guys finally getting it to the promised land. I figured Randy Orton, Bray probably lose if they win the titles, probably lose it around WrestleMania.
Okay. I could see that. Yeah, Slater and Rhino, Slater got himself over, man. They didn't have to do a whole lot because he's funny.
He is really funny. And he's been good. These past couple of years, but they haven't given him anything. And they finally gave him something, and he ran with it. Mm-hmm. And man, did he run with it? Jeez.
Yeah, he's been in the Nexus, he's been in 3MB, and now he's in Beauty and the Social Outcasts. I forgot about them. And then
everyone did.
Yeah, they were so stupid. I remember, was it Royal Rumble from this year where they were running around the ring, and I think Axel went in, and then by the time they ran around the ring, one time Axel got thrown out, and then they picked him up and kept running around the ring.
It's ridiculous, man. You want to even call the stable Social Outcasts. It's like the Job Squad,
Yeah.
It's just,
But
you're asking, you basically acknowledge the fact that you're a loser, and it's kind of like it sucks.
Yeah, it does. And I like what they did with Bo, turning him into a badass, because his dad's freaking Mike Rotunda, and I don't know if you knew who he was. I know you probably knew him as IRS or whatever, but Mike Rotunda was a tag team champion in WWF back in WrestleMania 1, and was a member of the Varsity Club with Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Kevin Sullivan in WCW, and they beat the Road Warriors in a match where Teddy Long was the referee. Teddy Long counted really fast and kind of cheated for the Varsity Club. But Rotunda is such an accomplished, I think he was actually a college wrestler too, an amateur wrestler. So he was very good in the ring. And to see Bo Dallas playing some silly character, to me, is almost it got him over, and he was in NXT and that got him over and everything. But it's all right, let's ditch the silly for Bo, because he just comes from a lineage that's way more serious than this.
Yeah.
I
would have actually I think Solomon, speaking of which, actually talks about how he wasn't against having Bo kind of go dark and be Bray's his. There's a term in I think in old mythology called the homunculus. You ever heard of that before? A homunculus essentially and this is going to be kind of a weird term. A homunculus essentially in old medieval terms is the little demon or animal that's the assistant to a dark sorcerer.
Okay.
So it's kind of his little skittering minion. And there was a point where they're there's no reason why they couldn't make Bo go dark, losing so much, and have Bray kind of bring him back into that fold of the Wyatt family and be kind of that smaller, ferocious little part of the Wyatts, because the Wyatts were all big guys, right? So,
yeah.
It would be kind of a cool thing. But they kind of changed the Wyatt gimmick also. It's the Wyatt family kind of went away from the Waylon Jennings and kind of became his own little thing. Which I think is weird. Because it's he went from backwoods cult guy to having this chiseled, skinny model dude who wears a sleeveless hoodie with him now.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Very weird. Yeah, I like that Luke Harper's back, because he looks like the same. Yeah, looks like the same Luke Harper from before. Rowan, I think, is out with an injury. Braun obviously is not in the Wyatt family anymore. And so I think they could have a Bo Wyatt, basically, or Bo Dallas. I don't know what they'll call him, whatever. But have him in the Wyatt family and have him, kind of dress maybe a little bit like Bray, and have them be a tag team from then on. Maybe, obviously, when the rosters get drafted again and everything like that. So I think that'd be a really good move to have the two of them together. Because, Bray, I like his look. I really do. The whole looking like the dude from Korn, the lead singer. Yeah, he kind of. Yeah, Jonathan Davis. I was going to say Jonathan Dwyer, but I knew that wasn't it. But yeah, he looks kind of just like his hairstyle and the way he kind of dresses and stuff, kind of from what I remember. So it works for me, and so I think definitely at some point they either got to split them, Bray and Randy up, and move Randy on, obviously, to bigger and better things, like movies, or they got to do something, because Slater and Rhino, you're on point when you said they don't need to have the championship anymore because they're over. Rhino, that whole did you see the one skit where they were in Slater's double wide?
Oh yeah, with the Vienna sausages
and the crackers and cheese. Oh my god, dude, it was so fun. And his wife came out, and I was like, you know what, I could really get behind this because it's so funny. It's not even about the wrestling. It's can you entertain me? And if you can't entertain me, then I'm not watching. Like, I see a lot of talking segments on SmackDown or Raw, even with the New Day. I love the New Day, but dude, I'm tired of them now.
Yeah, it's easy to see. I love them. I'm a big fan. I like to watch these with the channel. I met them at Comic-Con this year. And,
okay.
It's really cool, but it's just like, you don't need to give them the mic every single time that they show up.
Yeah, you really don't. Just bring their asses out and just let them wrestle. They're not really great wrestlers, but
they're fine, right? Kofi's probably the most.
Yeah.
He's obviously the best of all of them. I think Big E has a good career as a solo. They just never really gave them much of a chance. For me, it's like Raw represents, for me, kind of the old style, or like not old, but like the 2013, 2014 WWE style.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's 3 hours, they're kind of languishing. It's just like not built for me as a consumer, right? So it's like people like the New Day, they've liked the New Day, so we're just going to throw so many New Day things out there that people are going to get sick of. Until they get sick of it, we can't make money off of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Whereas like on SmackDown, I think where they can be a little bit more discerning with like the way that they write stories. Where they're like, we don't need to have them on there every single week talking all the time. Or at the very least, cut their stuff short. Like they say one or two things, get the cat's lines in,
yeah,
and they leave it to what it is. So I'm much more interested in SmackDown than Raw.
Yeah, a lot of people are. Plus, SmackDown's a 2-hour show instead of a 3-hour drag-on show. Like, holy cow, how many more talking segments can you have? Like, just give me the effing wrestling and give me a quick 30-second promo, if that, Like, they used to have matches, you have a superstar going against some jobber, right? And in the middle of that match, or in the beginning of that match, you have and his current feud is with so-and-so, and here's what he had to say about, this wrestler. And then you have a 10-second thing in the middle of that match that just appears above the ring, but it's only on screen, right? Like, nobody in the arena can see it. And they do the little 10-second thing, and it's like, hey, at the next pay-per-view, I'm going to knock you out, and yada, 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 blah, 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 and done. And it's like, good. Yeah. Give me the wrestling. That's what I wanted to watch.
Yeah. And I think it's also what sucks is like they're stuck in the 3-hour format, and this happened. I think this is around the time that you started watching again too. It was like, well, there's this thing where it's like the Authority would show up and do a 30-minute promo at the beginning of every single one. And you literally just wanted to kill yourself. You're just like, I can't listen to these people talk about what's best for business anymore. It's like at this point, it's just the same old crap now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you watch Talking Smack?
No, I don't. I did see the Miz one, though, where he went at Daniel Bryan so hard.
Yeah. In my opinion, Talking Smack is like one of the best parts of SmackDown.
Really? Okay.
Because like it's a lot of it, you can tell a lot of it's off the cuff. Like they're not doing the scripted promos there, and like Daniel Bryan's kind of free reign to kind of it's like a stream of consciousness for Daniel Bryan. So like he's able to just kind of talk about things, and you can tell that he makes slips. because like I think it was a couple weeks ago. He refers to Cesaro as Claudio.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that, and he also mentioned TNA, which is like, oops.
Yeah, exactly, right. So like little things like that, where it's him kind of saying what he's saying, and I think a lot of it's just him talking.
Yeah.
Just like directly from his mind, and it works out really well because the chemistry ends up being a lot better naturally than a lot of times what they kind of formulate for the show.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It actually it does a great job of creating storylines, and it's a pure talking segment. There's no fighting, there's no nothing.
Right.
It's just them. It's like Renee Young, Daniel Bryan, and they have a couple of the wrestlers kind of siphoned through, and it's just them talking like a talk show, and it actually works out incredibly well. There's one where it's like AJ Styles goes in there, and he's talking about it's the one where Ambrose like kicks the rope, and like AJ Styles like ends up like getting the nut shot.
Yeah.
Like stuck there for a second.
Uh-huh.
He's like talking about how he got hurt in his Jesus scene. Just like that scene. I guess that scene on your scrotum. I guess. I don't know, but like it was like this whole thing. We're like, where the hell did you get the term Jesus scene from? And it became like this whole little mini side thing that was just them talking, but it's like AJ was still being AJ.
Yeah.
So it was really it kind of shows everyone's natural charm, which I think is important.
Yeah, I agree. I think they need to do a whole lot less scripted stuff, because I can kind of tell NXT, like, the way Samoa Joe will talk, God, who else is it? I think maybe, I can tell that Ty Dillinger's probably doing scripted stuff, Bobby Roode, not scripted, but these are also guys who've been ring veterans for 15 plus years, so, and they've also been in TNA where they're not probably doing as much scripted stuff either, but, some of these guys, you're just like, dude, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, scripted.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah, great in the ring.
Like, their in-ring stuff is amazing.
Yeah, but their talking segments suck. Just like shut up and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. But that's like you gotta. That's the thing. That's like what I kind of miss about the older school wrestling. It's like if you're not good on the mic, they don't give you the mic. Like,
yeah.
It's just they're doing the ring. They'll if they need you to talk, they give you a mouthpiece, and then they kind of move on from there.
Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. There it is.
Exactly right. And
yeah.
Even then, like there was a point where when Jack Swagger and Cesaro were attacking the Real Americans, and
yep.
they had Zeb Coulter with them, and Zeb did the talking to both of them because neither one of them were particularly good at it, and they got over really well for a while.
Yeah, I do remember that. Zeb Coulter actually was in WCW as Dutch Mantel. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Yeah, he was a jobber kind of wrestler.
He's been around forever.
Oh, yeah. He was even in WWF, too. I forget who he was managing, but I saw his name the other day, and I was like, oh, that's who that was. But, yeah, he's been in WWF or WWE for a long time.
Well, he was a booker for TNA for a while, too, if I remember correctly.
Oh, was he? Okay. I didn't know that. Well, we got our last match. Dean Ambrose challenging AJ Styles in a TLC match for the WWE World Championship. I don't think Dean should lose for the sake of his character, but if he does, it's going to be because Ellsworth. And I don't know if you saw Smackdown on Tuesday, but he told Ellsworth he cut him off or told him to shut up or something like that. And it was like Ellsworth had like this weird look on his face, like, what? And so I kind of wonder if Ellsworth, who is way past 50 minutes of fame, if he's going to interfere on behalf of AJ and then feud with Dean.
Yeah.
So
there's, I'm not against it. I personally think AJ will win.
Good.
AJ is on too good of a tear right now for him to lose that belt, and it's also they're not gonna switch over the title belt on a show like TLC, like the main title on TLC. I think
that's a good point.
I do think Ellsworth is. It's this old. Okay, so there's an old literary term called Chekhov's gun, right?
Okay.
The idea being that Chekhov's gun means that in a book you don't mention something unless it's going to play a role later on in the story, right? And this is the Ellsworth thing is a Chekhov's gun concept in that it's like Ellsworth is going to serve a purpose in this final match because AJ hurt him so badly. They did the whole putting him in the ambulance thing, right? More than just Ambrose being really pissed off that he hurt Ellsworth. I think Ellsworth will eventually get involved in the match. In what capacity? I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think Dean's winning.
Yeah, this has been a good conversation. For the first time we've ever talked outside of the Derby and outside of Facebook. We've been on the phone for almost 2 hours.
Wow.
That's crazy. Can you hear the music in the background?
Not really, no.
Oh, thank God. It was so distracting. I had to move away from the window. My roommate's outside with his wife, and I can barely hear you. And I didn't want to get up and move and, close the window because it gets loud. And it's just like, well, I'll just deal with it. But yeah, thank you for joining me on the KJ from OC podcast, talking about wrestling, talking about TLC, and I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope we have more in the future every month.
It was a lot of fun.
2 times a month.
I enjoyed it a lot. I don't get a chance to always talk about wrestling with a lot of people, so it's kind of cool to do that. If you don't mind, I'm going to plug again, if that's cool.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Of course, you can find my podcast, Currently Nerdy, on iTunes. We're also on currentlynerdy.com. You can find us on our social media websites, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Currently Nerdy. You can also follow me at VTran214, that's VYTRAN214 on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on my blog at thesandwichslayer.com. It's about kind of my travels and also about sandwiches, oddly enough.
That sounds delicious.
Check it out. Yeah.
That sounds...
Yeah, it's wonderful. I eat sandwiches all over the world. So.
I did notice some of your Facebook stuff, and you were traveling around, and I was like, I wonder what that's all about. But I guess it makes sense now.
Yeah, right. So I'm a bit of I'm a sandwich slut. So
Well, good, because I'm just a slut. So if you meet any other sluts, just let me know, and I can help them out.
I'm not here to judge.
Yeah.
We gotta enjoy ourselves on our time here on the earth, right? So.
Right on. Well, thanks for joining me, and hopefully we'll talk again in a couple weeks for the next pay-per-view Roadblock. Maybe?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes. I got him. All right. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks, brother. I'll let you know when I post this.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Later.